Battle Through the Heavens God, the Flame Emperor Chapter 41, Go to the Depths of the Ruins. Far above the lake, an invisible ray of light was suspended in the sky. A vast and majestic soul power like a tide was centered on it, and quickly swept out in all directions. At this moment, in the entire small mountain range, except for a few extremely powerful high-rank monsters, the rest of the monsters felt an extremely strong soul pressure. Under this kind of soul pressure, their bodies could not help but tremble slightly. Xiao Yan is so powerful that he can actually use his soul power to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to replenish himself. Yuuru couldn't help looking at Xiao Yan in the air. After getting to know Xiao Yan from the Alchemist Association at the beginning, Xiao Yan caused a huge shock to Yuuru everywhere, and later he rescued his father, which also caused Yuuru to have some different emotions, although Xiao Yan also has some feelings. What she noticed, but Xiao Yan only thought that she was grateful to him for saving her father, and didn't think about it at all. Yuuru looked at the invisible light in the sky, the vast soul power, even her father. I am afraid there is a feeling of panic. Her father's strength is reflected in strength, but if it is compared to the soul, her father's may not be able to keep up with the current Xiao Yan. The soul power that spreads out like a tide. After nearly a few minutes, it gradually dissipated, and the invisible light slowly appeared under Yuuru's gaze. The light dissipated, and a figure with a heavy ruler in black appeared faintly. Upon closer inspection, it was Xiao Yan, but now that Xiao Yan's body was much better than before. Recovered, Yuuru also said happily. Xiao Yan's repeated efforts to save herself must be more than just friendship. Yuuru's surge pink face couldn't help but think. However, Yuuru also knows that the soul is too illusory for the powerhouses of this era, and the power of the soul is colorless and invisible. If you want to condense the soul of nothingness into the shape of a human, it will not hold on for a long time. Even some powerhouses of the Dota level are difficult to do. Let's go too. I can feel that there is no dragon demon core here, so I can only go to the main hall to try my luck. Xiao Yan also recovered his strength and said to Yuuru. In fact, the previous battle with Mueller did not consume much strength, but Xiao Yan deliberately went late to save some trouble. Thank you for the crescent moon green fruit, Yuuru said and followed Xiao Yan with her lips lightly biting. It's nothing to worry about. Xiao Yan also laughed. As time passed by, more and more people gathered in the depths of the ruins. An ancient stone gate slowly blocked in front of the main hall, because everyone present knew that once they crossed this stone gate, there would be countless wealth behind, and even more immortal level Do skills, even rare treasures of heaven and earth. This is the greatest wealth. However, they are also clear that this relic limits their strength, so the stone gate in front of them will definitely not be able to break through, so they can only wait until the seal is weakened and slowly open. However, at this rate of weakening, it will be opened in no more than 3 days at most. Let's settle down here now. It seems that we can only wait. Even in the ruins, there is a distinction between day and night, and in a blink of an eye, night comes. In an empty forest, a bonfire silhouetted the two figures. It was Xiao Yan and Yuuru. Let's taste it. Xiao Yan picked up a chicken leg and said to Yuuru. The temperature at night was a bit low, so Xiao Yan made a fire and grabbed a low-level monster as a food to barbecue to satisfy his hunger. Even if the Dota strong man did not eat for a few days, it would not affect him, because the Dota strong man could rely on heaven and earth energy to replenishes itself, so I don't rely so much on whole grains, but I don't eat it for nothing, right? Breakthrough. I didn't think the barbecue you made was quite delicious. Yuuru also gently tore a little into her mouth, and the familiar taste made her appetite greatly increased. Ha ha ha, I've been away all the year round, and these things will gradually get better. Xiao Yan is not as elegant as Yuuru, and he gulps down the barbecue in front of him. Bang bang bang. The 3 leaves charged towards Xiao Yan and the two with overwhelming energy. Yuuru, be careful. Xiao Yan has been walking outside all year round, so naturally he has the awareness that he cannot let his guard down at all times. The heavenly fire all over Xiao Yan's body was instantly activated, and the 3 leaves were instantly turned into nothingness. Yuuru obviously didn't expect someone to attack them so late, and she was also taken back. Fortunately, Xiao Yan reminded her, and she immediately entered the battle preparations. Who are you? Sneaky. Xiao Yan's soul power locked on the trail of the person who attacked them at the moment when the mysterious man made his move. Come out. A milky white flame went towards the position where the mysterious man was standing. The flames brought bursts of high temperature, as if possessing wisdom, which forest trees were bypassed directly, and the mysterious man was hit directly, was it discovered. A big tree upload comes from talking to itself. Bang! The mysterious man jumped off the big tree and fell into Xiao Yan's field of vision. The average man is innocent and guilty. The crescent moon green fruit is a good thing, but if you don't have the strength to protect it, you will only give your life in vain. Suddenly a voice came out from the mountain, and only one figure was seen walking out. In that forest, there was only one. The figure stood still. His body was sturdy, like an iron tower. His eyes glanced away, and his eyes were filled with a strong desire for war. Like a ferocious ape, he grinned at Xiao Yan and laughed loudly. Then without any hesitation, he stumped the sole of his feet, and his body rose to the sky, and he walked towards Xiao Yan after a few jumps. It doesn't make you worry about it, Xiao Yan also said coldly. Mueller, who was beside him, naturally recognized this person, and Mueller is known as the Heavens, chosen one of the 8 great cities of Qingcheng. Sun Ming, a born fighting maniac. This person turned out to be an advanced 3-star Dode. However, Xiao Yan is also not afraid. He possesses the 3 mysterious change of heavenly fire, and also has the immortal rank Do skill of ancient ruler, soul attack, and the angry fire lotus that has obviously suppressing effect on such people. I didn't mean to come here today. I just wanted to confirm whether the recently rumored Xiao Yan is as powerful as they said. After speaking, he also looked at Xiao Yan carefully, and then waved away casually. It's not so much that I am interested in what you have on your body. It is better to say that you actually defeated Mueller, who was in the middle stage 3-star Dode, by your strength. In the initial stage 3-star Dode, which really surprised me. You will be a very good opponent. There will be a meeting in the depths of the ruins. Then let's see if you have the ability. Xiao Yan also responded with a Chapter 42, the main hall open. Is there anything in me that deserves their attention? Xiao Yan was also puzzled. It should be your heavenly fire. Although these living dead are cold, it is not ruled out that they will do strange experiments with heavenly fires like heaven and earth. The Golden Dragon King also said slowly. Forget it, take one step at a time. One night of silence, 3 days. Passed in a blink of an eye. The seal of the stone gate in front of everyone also weakened at this moment and is about to open. Outside the stone gate that was crowded with people, and the 3-day boring wait was over. Crash. The space in front of them is violently distorted. It made a rushing sound like water, and with the spread of this sound, the fluctuations in that space became more and more violent. Looking at this momentum, the stone gate is about to open. There was no lack of humane with vicious eyes. Looking at the energy seal that became more and more illusory under the fluctuations, outside the sea of people, the eyes of countless people quietly glowed red, and even their breathing became much heavier, holding weapons. The palms are also slowly exerting force. I don't know what kind of bloodbath there will be in a competition for treasures, Xiao Yan also said with emotion. Then Xiao Yan looked at the increasingly distorted space with his eyes narrowed. In the strange clattering sound, he felt an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation. This fluctuation was extremely manic, as if being suppressed in the volcano under the Earth's crust is like a crazy eruption. Crash. There was another strange rushing sound. The distorted space suddenly condensed, and then there was only a crisp bang. The distorted space was like a fragile glass, with a pop, burst into countless tiny space debris. Come on, the ruins are open. At the moment when the seal of space burst, there were countless figures around the sea of people. Their eyes were immediately red. And there was a low greedy roar from their throats. With the gradual opening of the stone gate, a desolate and ancient aura slowly drifted out, causing many people to look solemn. For many people, things from the ancient times were quite sacred. Seeing the open stone gate, Xiao Yan moved, swept back lightly, and then returned to his previous position. Seeing his actions, many people twitched their mouths and cursed at the treacherous person in their hearts. Xiao Yan made it clear that he did not want to be the first to enter this mysterious ruin. The door slowly opened, and the creaking sound gradually ceased. Everyone in the square looked at each other, but no one dared to set foot in it first. Xiao Yan ignored the silence outside the stone gate. He touched the door with his fingers, and the smile on the corner of his mouth was quite bright. He didn't expect that he had just entered the ruins. The Golden Dragon King sensed the Dragon Demon core. Outside the stone gate, there will be some strong men from time to time coming from outside, obviously some strong men who discovered the opening of the stone gate, and seeing more and more strong men coming together. Those who arrived first, the people and the forces couldn't hold it any longer. After a while, someone finally walked into the stone gate slowly and couldn't help it. The screams were endless. Move back. Compared with these many people, Xiao Yan's expression changed at the moment when the space exploded. He grabbed Yuoro beside him, a little tree trunk at his toes, and his body suddenly retreated. The proud sons of the 5 major cities beside him also sensed something was wrong, reacted extremely quickly, and immediately retreated without hesitation. When Xiao Yan and the others retreated, there were suddenly a lot of figures on the surrounding giant trees, and they were obviously also finding something. Just as Xiao Yan and the others retreated violently, the shards of the space seal that burst open suddenly stopped, and then only a loud bang was heard. The power of the violent space, like a storm, swept away in all directions, and those who rushed the fastest were the first to bear the brunt, almost in the blink of an eye, were swallowed by the storm. Immediately, shrill screams resounded one after another on the sea of fire. There was nothing left for the people that was swallowed up by the storm. This space seal is so terrifying. The violent spatial ripples, like harvesting wheat, destroyed all the crowds that were rushing in front of them, leaving no room for them. On the other hand, some of the powerhouses at the back finally realized that something was wrong, so the crowd that was rushing forward suddenly turned around and fled in embarrassment. Tens of thousands of figures are constantly moving for retreat, because if they don't run, death is only waiting for them. Die? Let them be greedy, and they will not have the life to enjoy. That's why this scene is in front of them. Bang! Because there was a certain distance, when the space storm spread, it would not cause any harm to Xiao Yan and others. At this time, the few people breathed a sigh of relief, and when their eyes swept away, they saw countless of miserable howls. The screaming figure rolled on the ground, and the bright red blood stained a large area of land outside the stone gate. What a terrifying space seal! After countless years, it can still have such a terrifying impact. It is worthy of being a relic remained by a peak of the Emperor Do. See the destructive power caused by this space fluctuation? Surroundingly, a look of shock appeared on the cheeks of the honored sons of the 8 great cities and others. Let's go. These guys are too impatient and deserve to die. Xiao Yan smiled and waved his palm, and his figure turned into a rainbow glow, swept away at the stone gate. At the same time, many other powerhouses who had also successfully avoided the spatial fluctuations also immediately cast the figure turned into blurred silhouettes and swept into the stone gate. The Emperor's cave has finally opened at this moment. With the gradual approach, some of the gray fog floating in the stone gate gradually became thinner, and the behemoth finally appeared in the field of vision of Xiao Yan and others. Stepping into the stone gate and looking around, the deepest part of the stone gate is a great hall, a huge hall nearly 1,000 feet, almost like a small mountain peak. The branch hall has become abnormally small. Looking up at this gigantic creature standing between heaven and earth, a sense of insignificance arises spontaneously. Then the so-called great fortune should be where, the people present also understood. The whole body of the giant hall was red, and from a distance, it seemed like a flame was rising. In this gray-white space, it was extremely dazzling. The surrounding powerhouses were also a little lost because of the large scale of the Crimson Giant Hall. After a while, they came back to their senses and looked at each other with shocking expressions in their eyes, worthy of being the Emperor level. Left by the strong, such handwriting is indeed majestic and atmospheric. Shishi. One after another, the figures gradually slowed down, and then stopped a few hundred meters away from the stone gate. Standing here, the giant hall was even more huge. At a glance, the top of the giant hall seemed to be inserted into a cloud peak. No wonder it has to be covered up with a space seal, such a huge hall. Wherever it is placed, it is a conspicuous existence. Xiao Yan also said in surprise. Let's go this way. My soul power has sensed the breath of Dragon Monster Core. Xiao Yan said while pulling Yuoro. Then why don't we go to the main hall? What about the great fortune? Yuoro also said in a heartbeat. Although Yura didn't have much hope for the great fortune, she wanted to see it. If it was so easy to get, it wouldn't be great fortune. Go. Xiao Yan also knew that the top priority was to find the dragon demon. Chapter 43, Bloodthirsty Dragon Lizard. It seems that their brains are flooded, and they don't take good fortune. But it doesn't matter, since that's the case, we also have one less opponent. Let's go. The living dead who stole Xiao Yan's fake crescent moon green fruit said in disapproval. Miss, let's go too. I don't want it. I have to follow them. Feng Yi said stubbornly. As an alchemist, she certainly knew the powerful soul power in Xiao Yan's body. Maybe Xiao Yan could give her inspiration to make a breakthrough. And she can feel that it is more important to break through the alchemist rank than that great fortune. Xiao Yan and the others landed on a huge gray-black tree. Their eyes looked straight ahead, only to see that there was a vast forest. The forest was full of trees that alternated between gray and white. These trees had no branches and leaves. Only the bare tree trunks, from a distance, look like a forest of sharp spears, which makes people feel a chill. However, Xiao Yan and the others didn't stop there too much. They directly locked the position in the middle of the forest, only to see a dead air filled there, a gray-white shadow snoring like a dreaming demon. Because according to what the Golden Dragon King said, the dragon monsters live here. Xiao Yan's terrifying soul force directly attacked the sky and covered the earth, directly piercing the thick dead aura, and the scene in the depths of the forest quickly became clear in his eyes, and he could only see a big tree in the depths. Down, a black shadow was entrenched, like a lizard. The shadow's body was actually dressed in black armor. The armor surface was entangled with death energy, and when the death energy fluctuated, even some of Xiao Yan's complexion was dignified. The death aura possessed by this black monster is far more powerful than the living dead that Xiao Yan and Yura have met before. Obviously, just from the perception of the aura, they knew that this is a monster that can rival the 4-star Dodi. What? When Xiao Yan visited this powerful beast with the help of his clan tattoo, he suddenly let out a sigh, because he found that the armor on the beast's body seemed to be quite broken, and even on the surface of its body, there were deep lines, scarlet scars revealing gray bones. And there are still some fresh wounds, apparently recently injured. And the death energy of this beast is also slightly disordered, as if it had experienced a war before. What? Yura, who was beside him, also asked in a low voice, looking at Xiao Yan, who frowned slightly. This monster seems to have suffered some injury. Xiao Yan also said with some doubts. He had used his soul power to visit the sleeping monster before, and there were no other teams nearby. Where did this monster's injury come from? Xiao Yan was also a little surprised when he heard this, and immediately smiled. Said, it seems that God really helped us. A wounded beast is better than a normal one. Xiao Yan also smiled. He didn't worry too much about it. His eyes turned, looking at the death forest. His eyes flickered. Yura looked at Xiao Yan and said, there are a lot of monsters in this area, but looking at the footprints, I think they were driven out by this demon dragon, so the demon dragon should have been injured because of this. Let's go. I will wrap you with my soul power and go in and have a look. Xiao Yan said. Xiao Yan felt that things were not so simple, and it was better to be careful. After all, this was a monster that was comparable to a 4-star Dodi. If it wasn't for the beast's injury and the presence of the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yan would not have the confidence to come. Although this lizard with dragon blood is extremely powerful, its perception of soul power is much weaker. As long as Xiao Yan and the others do not deliberately provoke the dragon lizard, it is impossible for the dragon lizard to find them. When Xiao Yan and the others started rushing towards the direction of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard, the place where the dragon lizard was, had already been visited by a group of people, and it became extremely hot. There were a large number of figures in white standing outside the entrance of the cave where the dragon lizards inhabited. An astonishing cold air permeated from their bodies. Even the temperature of this world was affected and lowered a lot. In front of the large group of white shadows, there are two hunched old figures. Between these two people standing at will, there are two majestic cold and evil auras that slowly spread out, giving people a kind of very depressed feeling. Among the two, the most eye-catching is the old man in the middle. The old man had white hair and beard, and was leaning on a dragon-headed crutch that looked like a white jade. The dragon's giant mouth was wide open, and a pair of gloomy dragon eyes showed gloomy meaning. Compared with the famous old man, He looks extraordinary, with no energy spilling out from his body, and even that old face is abnormally dry, with slightly squinted eyes, revealing a bit of turbidity. Ordinary old people have no difference at all. What is surprising is that this seemingly unremarkable old man is standing in the middle of the team, and even the majestic white-clothed old man is half a step behind him. Between the eyebrows, there is a little respect. Around the dragon lizard, there are still many people watching the excitement, and when they saw this battle, they were all shocked, especially when they saw the special snow patterns on these people's clothes. It was even more. There was a commotion. It turned out to be from Solomon, Uuru exclaimed. Solomon is one of the most powerful forces in this mysterious spirit continent. Although there are few good or bad rumors, there is no doubt about Solomon's strength and reputation. Don't worry, let's take a look at their purpose first. Xiao Yan was also surprised that Solomon would also set his sights on this bloodthirsty dragon. These people have an unusual aura. The Golden Dragon King also carefully felt the aura of Solomon in front of him. I always feel that their strength seems to be a little floating. Is it my illusion? The Golden Dragon King murmured to himself. Dragon Lizard, we are here just to borrow your dragon blood. The white-haired old man who took the lead said to the bloodthirsty dragon lizard cradling at the entrance of the cave. Boom boom boom. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard swung its huge tail angrily. Damn humans! If I hadn't been ambushed by you before, I would have killed you. The dragon lizard roared. These people in front of dragon lizard actually poisoned him when he was eating, causing him to fall into a sluggishness for a short second of time. The two old men headed by them did not hesitate to attack with all their strength. Although the demon dragon lizard was enough to rival the 4-star Dode powerhouse, but now that he is seriously injured, and the two are also at the peak of 3-star Dode, they are not his opponent. And it can be seen that the dragon lizard is very afraid of the dragon-headed crutch in the hands of the white-haired old man, even afraid. However, although the dragon lizard was seriously injured, how could the dragon beast give in so easily? Immediately facing the forest is a dragon roar. Boom boom boom. Overwhelming monsters came from all directions, and among them there were 3 monsters that were comparable to the advanced 3-star Dode. Oops. This beast actually called its subordinates. You're careless. The white-haired old man at the head yelled badly, thinking that he could easily conquer the dragon with this dragon-headed cane. Prepare to fight. You hold the other beasts, second brother. Follow me to kill this dragon lizard. The white-haired old man. Chapter 44, Double Chain Trapped Dragon Column. Superior. Since you don't appreciate it at all, don't blame us for being ruthless. The white-haired old man Bingtian said to the dragon lizard. Bingguyu also heard Bingtian's words, and immediately flew towards the place where Bingtian was, and the seal was constantly changing in his hand, as if something was brewing. Bingtian raised the dragon-headed cane high, muttering some strange spell in his mouth. A strange scene appeared. Bingtian's high-raised dragon-headed crutches actually emitted a whitish-white mist. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard saw these humans in front of him, especially the 2 old men leading the team. The peak of the 3-star Dode? Although the strength of the magic dragon is comparable to that of a 4-star Dode in human being, but these despicable humans sneak up on the dragon lizard while it was sleeping, resulting in scars on its bodies, and its strength has dropped a lot. At this moment, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard showed its wisdom that is not inferior to human beings. Looking at the techniques of Bingtian and Bingguyu, it can clearly feel that this is the last resort. Immediately, his entrenched body trembled, and his eyes stared at the 2 who were forming a formation in front of him. The huge dragon pupils stared at Bingtian and Bingguyu, and the 2 of them only felt their whole body tremble, and they didn't care about the pressure, because they both knew that if they didn't get rid of this bloodthirsty dragon lizard today, then they will be wiped out, and they think of not being able to complete the tasks assigned by their sect. If they go back, that kind of torture will be unbearable for ordinary people. Can't lose? Fight. A belief appeared in the hearts of both of them. Saying that, the 2 of them quickened their movements. The originally dark sky turned into a cloud of mist. Looking at the discolored sky, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard secretly said that it was not good, but how could the unyielding spirit of the dragon race allow such an arrogant creature to escape? Taking a deep breath, the dragon lizard roared out at the cave. This roar seems simple, but the dragon lizard contains an extremely powerful sonic attack. Circle after circle attacked away from the cave, when directly attacking Solomon's disciples, the demon dragon lizard also knew that what he can do now is to greatly reduce their number, so that his subordinates have the opportunity to fight them easily. Boom boom boom. The people of Solomon, who were resisting the other beasts, didn't notice the dragon's actions, but were surprised to feel the powerful sound waves. Some weak people couldn't help being festered by the sudden attack of the dragon, and some held their heads tightly. Obviously, their strength was low and they had no means to prevent this kind of sonic attack, so Solomon's people get trembled. More than 3 people are dead. How could Bingtian and Bingguyu not be angry with the dragon lizard? Beast. I originally wanted to borrow some of your dragon's blood to complete a great experiment for us, but now you have angered us, so you must die today. Ha ha ha. The despicable and shameless human beings still want to borrow my blood. Is the blood of our noble dragon demon beast is yours? Besides, you plotted against me first, and their deaths are just to atone for your sins. Don't worry, and be very happy. You'll both go with them soon. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard was also the overlord of the beast, and immediately shouted at Bingtian. All Solomon disciples obey the order and form a formation. Bingtian's eyes were also red. Hearing the cold shout resounding through the cave, most of the remaining Solomon disciples froze for a moment. After a little hesitation, they responded in unison and slowly closed their eyes. After a while, strands of white energy emerged from the top of the Solomon disciples' heads. Penetrated from above. A steady stream of white fog energy rose into the sky, and finally almost covered the entire sky. At first glance, it looked like it was in a sea of clouds, and the ice sky and ice fog were in the center of the sea of clouds to control the formation. Everyone, help me! Bingtian shouted again, coldly looking at the surrounding cloud energy. The blood stains on his face due to the sonic attack of the demon dragon lizard had formed blood scars at this moment, which looked particularly terrifying. As Bingtian's shouts fell, the dozen of the white-robed disciples on the stone platform immediately stood up, and with a jump, they quickly separated, and then shot to some big trees around the square, with their hands printed on them. The knots moved at the same time, and with the movements of their handprints, the sea of clouds that filled the sky also suddenly fluctuated. At the center of the sea of clouds, the energy of the cloud chi rapidly condensed and covered the entire cave in an instant. Oops! The bloodthirsty dragon who didn't agree at the beginning couldn't help roaring when he saw the completion of the great formation, because from the power of its strength, he also felt a sense of destruction from the great formation. Oh, it's actually a double-chained dragon pillar. The Golden Dragon King also said to Xiao Yan. What is the double-chained dragon pillar? Xiao Yan looked at the center of the battle, and Bingtian and Bingguyu, who controlled the formation, seemed to be part of the big formation at this time. On the other hand, the situation of the magic dragon was extremely bad. The so-called double-chained dragon pillar is a kind of ceiling formation, but this ceiling formation will have unexpected effects when dealing with dragon monsters. In other words, it is the nemesis of dragon monsters. The Golden Dragon King also explained to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan frowned upon hearing this. Don't worry, I haven't paid attention to this level of ceiling formation. It's okay to deal with bloodthirsty demon dragons with impure bloodlines. If they want to seal it, I can kill them with one finger. And also dragon monsters. That lizard is a monster with a trace of dragon blood, while the latter is a genuine Golden Dragon King. But I always think the so-called Solomon people are weird. The Golden Dragon King said in a voice that only he could hear. Xiao Yan did not doubt the authenticity of the words of the Golden Dragon King. Then he turned his attention to the battle. Xiao Yan also deliberately strengthened the soul power covering himself and Yura, because he was afraid of being discovered by others. Although the soul power of the people here is much weaker than that of Xiao Yan, there is no harm in being careful. Strange, Xiao Yan is clearly here. Why can't I feel his breath? Said a girl in a colorful skirt. Miss, there seems to be traces of fighting in the cave ahead. Shall we go and have a look? Followed the girl's entourage to explore way back. I don't know what's wrong, why the eldest young lady of my own family doesn't want to take good luck and wants to come to Xiao Yan, but the mission of these followers is to protect the young lady, and they don't dare to ask any more questions. Go. Xiao Yan, you can't escape from my palm. The girl slowly and playfully rushed towards the cave. Looking carefully, this playful girl is actually Feng Yi. Boom boom boom. The great formation controlled by Bing Tian and Bing Wu was also completed at this moment. The clouds and mist covering the entire sky, and two sky-piercing beams of light appeared in the center of the rolling cloud and mist ground formation, piercing the sky. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard felt an extreme fear from the two beams of light, followed by the hysterical roar of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. The seal formation? Isn't the double-chained dragon pillar lost? How could it be in